Hello buddies, so today is a big day because they just did something that I was waiting a while to get, which is the Crypt buff. Basically now at Crypt we make more money. So since it's going to be pretty popular because of a certain way to make even more money by crafting Ted de Baraka belts and selling them, I will just make a little video on how to grind up Crypt, uh, how I do at Crypt and what I do at Crypt. So I will just show you everything and I will not hide anything. So here's my gear. I'm pretty geared, so but the thing is you don't need that much gear. Like you just need to progress at your own rhythm. You can't just have like smaller gear, but the most important part is to be able to survive the entire hour. If you die a bunch, it gets frustrating and you might just leave saying that you are not good enough. So I would just show you ways that you can grind crypt, maybe slowly, but at least you will be able to survive long enough to be able to do a full hour of not dying and make some money by that. So first off, let's start with the resistances. So at crypt, it's really important to have a certain resistance pretty high up, which is the stun, stiffness, and freezing. And right now I'm at 78%, but if I pop all my buffs, it goes up to 88%. Ideally, you want it to be at 100% so you can never get stunned or stiffened, but personally, I found a balance that I don't get stiffened like quite a lot, even at 88%, so and I can survive when I do get stiffened. But for you, I recommend you to go at 100%. And how can you make up to 100%, you say? First off, the whom's. The whom's are really important. They give a bunch of defensive stats, survivability, and resistances. So that's the first. Second one is the Kydex Giant, which you can get by, let's see, just like processing the Kydex adventure crystals. You might need to check on the internet to be able to craft those, but you need like 2 of them. And the big difference that we have compared to PC is that we don't have access to the RBF Giant, which gives 25% stiffness resistance, like stun, stiffness, freezing resistances, because we don't have the winter, the mountain winter of a total winter, I don't know, the winter region, which is needed to be able to craft those OP crystal for crypt. So we just use the alternative for that, which is the Kydex Giant. And also you can use a guaranteer. It gives like 3% resistances, and I think that's pretty much it for the resistances. The rest of the crystals is just like corrupted magic crystal. Critical hit damage is pretty useful. You can also use the corrupted, but apparently like everybody's saying that the back attack is not like that much used at crypt. Personally, I do a lot of back attacks, especially on elites. So if you kind of die a lot, you can just swap the corrupted for the mysterious darkness, so you don't lose the -2 damage reduction that it does. But personally, I just use it. I don't know which best, but I just use that. And you want all the accuracy that you can. They reduce the accuracy requirement quite a bit, so you don't need as much accuracy as before, but try to just use like double vipers, Elixirs, and yeah, that's pretty much the accuracy I have on my crystals. And oh yeah, also the glorious crystal of gallantry, because it's pretty OP for monster damage, accuracy, and attack speed. And finally, you can use the crystal of brutal decimation for back attacks, but you can also use like the other crystal, which is I have a lot of crystals. Oh, it's up there. It's like the rebellious spirit crystal. Yeah, those ones that give like a lot of hit points. So it's like another layer of survivability. And also like 5 AP, all AP and 5 monster AP. So that's pretty strong. I might even use that instead of like the brutal decimation and the Acrad. So because hit points is pretty valuable. Like if you have a lot of hit points, you have less chances to get one-shotted. So that's pretty good. And I will save that. So let's get back to how to get more resistances. Now we just talked about the crystals, but you might go with the gear. You can use the Perilla Star. Perilla Star gives like 5% resistances. That's pretty good. But the most important parts is the damage from monster minus 5%, so you get even tankier against monster, the all damage reduction plus 4, and the HP recovery. HP recovery plus 1 is pretty strong because every time you do an attack, which you do a lot, and you attack a lot of monsters, you can get back your hit points really fast. So that's a really good one to use. But personally, I don't need that many resistances because I grinded Crypt a lot, so I just use my Alchemy Destruction Stone just to farm a bit quicker. And you can also use the cup. Right now I farm the Calphion Elvia Alchemy Stone Cup that you can upgrade. It gives like DR, 4 DR, and also like a bunch of good stuff like damage from monster minus 1%, all resistances plus 2%. So all of those plus resistances get stacked quite a lot. So it's good to have a lot of resistances. And another thing, we'll just go with the the elixirs. So now at Crypt, you really want to use elixirs. You can use a frenzy drought, but good luck. Like you really need to be experienced and know what to do and such to be able to grind with the frenzy. Otherwise, you just grind with the full elixir rotation, and we are pretty lucky because they just change the elixirs so that everything is like party elixir, so you don't need to like make a base blue and craft to party. Now it's just simplified, so you have access to more elixirs now. So basically I use back attack, hit points, AP, like all the traditional stuff, recover hit points on hit, accuracy, down attack, because at Crypt you do down attack. Basically, if you have enough like ignore resistances, you can basically CC the mobs. Maybe not the elites, but the small mobs you can. So it's good to have down attacks. Master against Camasylvian because Crypt is Camasylvian, even if it's in Odolita, it's still Camasylvian. And personally I use the Brutal Death Elixir and the other one, uh, the defense nullifying damage, brutal perforation, because like I read that it just does true damage, so it's like plus 10 damage on the mobs. Maybe it's not necessary, but I still use them because why not? Like it's there and I'm able to use it with my fairy, so why not? More than that, the strong draining, again, plus 5 hit points per critical hit. You do a lot of critical hits and you hit a lot of mobs. And just by using that and the other one plus 3 per hit, you can basically see your hit points just getting back up after a hit. And it's really fast to regen your health that way. Next up, damage reduction. It's good to survive. Damage received from monsters, -10, it's more survivability. A critical hit depends on your class if you reach the critical hit uh, cap, which you can see by going in my info, and you say that I'm only at 2 points, and the more you put critical like dots, you get like 18%, and you really want to have maximum critical hit like 18% and up to 100%. And I'm a guardian, so I can get the critical hit pretty high up. But let's get back to the elixirs. So after that, the critical hit damage is like pretty standard for everything. So let's go in perfumes. Personally, I use the Calc Elixir because it gives more resistances, plus 10%. Because, like I said, we are not PC. We need those resistances. We don't have the giant RBF crystals. So, Kydex Elixir, the Calc Elixir. But you can also use like perfume if you really want to do a lot of trash loot. Like if you are going for a record, you can just use that. But the calc is a pretty safe choice to use. So that's basically all of my elixirs. You can see in my buff bar, I have the tent buff, like the church buffs, which is pretty like well known at that point. So the Villa scroll, you don't need a all moon uh, like book to be able to buy that. You just buy a Villa invitation here, a Lohan Villa invitation, and you can just get this one. It gives more 10% resistance, so that's another way to get more resistances. And yeah, did I say that I used the simple Exquisite Crown Mill? So I use Exquisite Crown Mill, it's more damage. And for endgame, you really want those back attack multipliers, back attack damage plus 5% and critical hit damage plus 5%, because like you are pretty like high up in AP already, so you really want those percentage on special attacks. And it also gives 4% to all resistances. So with all of that, basically I get up to 88%. But I don't use the Perilla star, which is a 5%. And you can also use the crystals, um, the adamantine crystals, which gives another 5%. So it's 10% for both. It's not ideal, but it's another 10%. So with all of that, which is the hooms, the crown meal, the crystals, your alchemy stone, your tent buff, everything, like there's so many sources, you can basically, oh, nope, not saving. You can have 100% to stiffness, but I prefer to sacrifice some resistances to get more damage. So next up is pretty much the add-ons. Like that part is pretty much like class dependent. Like if you are Guardian, that's the add-on I use. But normally you want monster damage, attack speed, something that is a big AoE, which is my Black Blood Circle, which attacks a lot of mobs around me, so I use that to debuff the enemies, DP minus, evasion rate minus, and I use Boulder Crush, which is like pretty small AoE, just so I can buff myself with the DP. I can be more tanky, and accuracy, so I can like have 100% accuracy on the mobs. So yeah, another big AoE attack that reduce the DP, and I use bleed damage because when the mobs are pretty hard to kill, the bleeds stack up quite good. I don't know if like how much it does, but apparently it's pretty good on mobs that are hard to kill, so that's why I use that. And of course more attack speed, so I can have it 100% of the time, and more movement speed because you will need to have movement speed to, so I will show you later. And also just back attack and critical hit damage. So that's pretty much all of the things I'm doing. I hope I didn't forget anything. If I did, just ask in the comment section and I will answer. So we will start like the rotation so I can show you what I do. So basically I buff, I just pop my tier 2 loot scroll because I have so many hours of grind of loot scrolls that I can use that. And I also use the 50 million for the 50% drop rate, which is quite expensive, but ultimately you make more money by having that than not running it. So, but for me, I will use the 30 million one, it's 30%, and I will use the G scroll, the glorious scrolls. So in theory, I should be at 300%. So now that I started, I will show you what I do. So I hope there's no one here. So basically, I try to always have 10 mobs at a time, so I can maximize my trash loot. So I kill all of that. I try to make a small pack, so it's easier, 100%. And now it's, yeah, it's the first hour I'm doing since the changes, so they are quite easier to kill now than before, because they gave us more AP, like they increased the AP cap. So now basically we do more damage, and that's really fun. And also that's why you want to do here is to always aggro the elites, like the big guy that just jumped around, and the big round spear maiden, because they, first of all, they give a lot of trash loot, and they have, like, I think quite a high chance to drop a double belt. So you always want to kill those two with the other mobs. Like, don't try 200 trash loot. Don't try to just kill them alone. Try to always have mobs around, so you can kill the mobs with them. So here you saw I aggroed 2 pack of mobs, so basically they just run to me and I just stop to the other group, so now I can kill both of them at the same time. It's the first time I'm doing a commentary while grinding. Normally I just chill watching a TV movie or something. It would be quite funny if I drop a double belt like in my explanatory. So after cleaning those mobs, venomous thing, let's go to the other pack. So I just grab those and I grab those. Sometimes I just grab the ones that are like in front here, but you want to have 10 mobs with you. You cannot have more. Like, we are not a wizard that has the red ball that can aggro more. We are like a guardian, so we can only aggro 10 mobs at a time, which is pretty much all the classes except wizard, I think. So you try to kill them all. And a thing that is pretty important is to use your PvE iframes. I don't know if you know what those are, but if you read your skills, sometimes it says like iframe during PvE. Like, I can show you my skills. I think the first one is this one. You can see in the bottom it says invincible during the skill. And there's multiple skills that have that. I think Guardian has like three or four. And if you use them, you cannot die basically. So if you are in big trouble at Crypt, you can just use them and be safe. And maybe take time to regen or something. But it's really important to use the PvE, because if you stand still for too long, it will be a big mistake. Big mistake. So now that we just clear the rotation, basically, and to find where I'm grinding, the rotation I'm grinding at, just try to access the Marnie realm. If you do that, you will be automatically guided to here. So after that, what I like to do is I pick 2 rotations. I just dive to the small room here. And what it does is I can have access to more elites, you see? Now there's a bear, and sometimes there's a dark knight, which didn't appear yet, but she will soon. Hope so. Yeet. And also try to like dodge the red zones, or try to dodge the big attacks. Like, there's not a lot of red zones, but normally like you will see stuff that are pretty dangerous underground, and you can dodge that. So now, instead of killing the bear, I just go to the next pack of mobs. He will go straight at me, and so I can kill it with all of the mobs all together. And you just saw that I CC'd the mage that is to my left. Like, I did the CC to cancel his big distraction thingy that he just casted. And that's the way to cancel their animations. you just CC them to the ground. Like, I think it's a float that does a pretty good job. So, but there's a lot of CC that just makes them unable to do their big skill. Like, yeah, just cancel it again. Or you can kill it. If you kill it fast, you don't even need to worry about CC. So now I just clear that room, so now I go back to the rotation. So basically, we just do that like for an hour, and hope we get a lot of devil bells. So apparently now on PC, don't know about console because we just got it today, it's like 1 belt per hour. They just increased it, so that's a pretty good money making. And basically to make money with the belts, you just upgrade them. I know that's not a word most people like to hear. You enhance the belts to up to 10. And with that, you just sell it and you make 99 billion. So according, I think, to biohack calculations, it's like 13 belts on average to make a 10. So basically with 1 belt per hour on average, and an average of 13 belts to make a 10, it's basically takes 13 hours to make a Tet Deboraka, which like it can be neck or belt, because I think it's pretty similar drop rate in Ash Forest or at Crypt. So imagine 13 hours for 99 billion. But the thing is, you gotta take into account like resources that you need to use to craft those, like the cranstones, um, fail stacks. Even though some people consider fail stack to be free because they give us a lot of fail stacks, it still has a value. But ultimately, like, you spend some money, but you make more money. But so with that, the crypt is like basically the best spot to grind in the entire game, if you get the average. Like, of course, if you go on a drought of 15 hours without a belt and you get super unlucky, or you get like 50 belts and you don't hit a single tet, it's not really good money making, and you're better to go to underground Gyphen so you can make sturdy money. But here it's like more of a challenge or anything, and most people don't have the double belt, so if you want it to yourself, it's a good way to do it now because it's easier than ever, basically. The mobs are quite squishy compared to before, or at least I see the difference with my AP. So the more gear you have, the better it will be. So I think we have a Dark Knight here. So Dark Knights are like, they hit pretty hard. Now you see that, oh, you see a red zone. Try to either iframe it with your PvE iframes, or just like get away from it. Otherwise it will hurt. For me, I have a lot of DR and such, so it will not hurt. Okay, so now I clear the rotation. I just yeet to myself down there, and now you just saw that I killed a Dark Knight. Normally there is also a Dark Knight that spawns here, so it's basically a 2 Dark Knight rotation. And it's really good because Dark Knight has a chance to spawn Raz'nal. Raz'nal is the crypt boss. She's like, because it's a woman, she's like really hard to kill and does a lot of damage. It's basically the only mob at Crypt that I need to focus a little bit to dodge everything and not die, because she hurts. You will see if you meet her, she hurts. But she gives like a lot of trash loot. I don't think I got a single belt from her yet, but I hope I will get one day. Oh yeah, now you see there's a Dark Knight right in front of me, so just try to dodge the attacks. Dodge the red, attack the mobs, and now I just killed it. Okay, now like you can leave some mobs. It's better to go to the next pack of mobs instead of focusing like 3 mobs and trying to kill only 3 mobs. You can if you want, but I like to have the feeling that I hit a lot of people. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I missed anything. If so, I hope you can tell me in the comment section so I can link it. Like, I don't want to hide anything. Like, I have the gear, but you can do what I do if you build enough like survivability. And it also depends on the class. Some classes do more, some like it's really class dependent, basically. So just develop your own playstyle, maybe your own like a mob pulling. If you prefer to like just use one pack of mob at a time, so it's easier, you can do that. But that's pretty much it for the Crypt tutorial. And it's console specific because on PC they already add that for like 2 weeks or more. I don't know. I think yeah, it was 2 weeks, and we don't have access to the Kydex, the RBF giant. I mean, which would make it way simpler than having to cap resistances otherwise. But ultimately, that's it. We don't have the artifacts and all of that. The Ator shoes, the Libresca, which can make PC people more tanky and easier to survive here. But on the opposite, they also have a Crystal Break, which we don't. And without having to worry about any of our crystal being destroyed from a random one hit from Raz'nal or a DK, we are much safer than to farm here than PC is. So if you want to try that spot, I would recommend it. It's fun. It's a challenge. It breaks the tradition of just going in circles and just being like yawning, like just farming and being bored. That's still in circles, but at least it's challenging, you know? So it's fun when it's challenging. So yeah, so I will continue to farm that for the entire hour and I will show you what I got in trash loot. Okay, so now we have an encounter. I killed the Dark Knight and now Raz'nal has spawned. I'm currently on Raz'nal. She does a lot of big AoEs and she moves quite fast. So just try to not be hit by the reds, or if you are tanky enough, try to tank it. But oh my god, it's quite a lot of damage that she's doing. But it's always the same attacks. Like she backs off, she can do a cone, you can just go behind her. She does like the 3 little circles in a row, just don't be in them. And again, 3 circles. And at one time she will do like big AoE around her or something that has like 3 inner circle like this one. Just try to immunity frame with your PvE frames. It's basically the best bet you have. So normally oh shit. I try to not face 2 elites at the same time. And I try to have a lot of like smaller mobs to fight her because I can regen my health on the smaller mobs. Oh shit, I got CC. So I'm running away. I will just aggro more. Just no 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 no. You see, you need to be really careful. Regen your health. Take some step back. PvI frame. And you killed her. Congratulations. 30 Kafra stones. Oh my god. That's a lot of loot that she drops. So yeah, you just saw the Raz'nal boss in Crypt. So yeah, we finished the first hour at Crypt. We basically pulled 16.4. I think it's on the lower side. PC pull like more impressive numbers, but it's my first hour since the update, so I'm not really like stressed about that. If you can do more than me, that's good for you. If you do less, then you can maybe get some tricks from my video, who knows. Um, But for the others, I got a Deboraka belt on the first hour. Maybe I got lucky, maybe not. Who knows? I will do more hours to see if the average is really 1 per hour. And I got just the other stuff, usual like Blackstones, Ancient Spirit Dust, the Venomous Nightfang aren't really worth a lot. And for the craft raz, I don't really know how many I pulled. I guess it's like 50 to 60 or something, like the normal. But you can like pretty much like subtract the 462 to the number I had when the video began, so you will know that way. So yeah, that was the first hour at Crypt since the new changes that boosted the Deboraka drop rates and increased the health of the enemies, and also increased the cap so we can do more damage at Crypt. If you want to test it out, do it. Not on my server when I grind, please. I don't want to challenge you to the spot. But um, I encourage you to go for it. To grind Crypt. It's fun. It's hard. You will be on your toes all the time, and you can farm the best of the best accessory of the game, the Deboraka belt and the Deboraka series. So yeah, if you have any question, ask them in the comment section, and I will answer them. And I wish you to have another day, another good day. So bye bye.